everybody. Welcome into Keeping It Casual. I'm Alek Koberna.
And I'm Matt Morrison.
Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. You can find them all there. Today, we are talking about the Washington, formerly known as the Redskins. We're still waiting on the new name
It was
change.
supposed to be Monday, but they didn't do anything.
So, Monday, they were talking that apparently that was the announcement to the announcement. They were announcing that they were no longer using the Redskins, but they made a whole big PR move out of it. Oh, name change on Monday. Name change on Monday. We hit Monday. Hey guys, name change. We're just changing the name. What did you change it to? Oh, we don't know yet. Apparently, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that has to go on. They have to go through all the trademarks, all the potential trademarks, new slogans. You know, they had hashtag HTTR, Hail to the Redskins. Yeah. Can't use that anymore. Potentially, they could be able to if they keep the start of it with an R. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We know a few names that have been suggested.
The
Red Tails, the Red Wolves, and then the one that's currently favorites in Las Vegas odds is the Warriors.
The Warriors.
Which, I don't know, I don't like the Warriors.
No,
We have a Warriors team.
I like that Red Wolves. I sent you that post on Instagram the other day of what the uniforms would look. Man, those uniforms are sick, man.
I like
those
the Red
are
Wolves.
cool. I like the Red Wolves. The Red Tails are also cool. I think they talk about the monuments too.
Yeah, the monuments are up there. Generals, presidents, senators.
You are in Washington, D.C., and it is fitting to have a name that's related to, your capital and all that stuff.
So, I kind of liked, throw it back to a movie here. I know you'll like this, from the Replacements, the Washington Sentinels.
Yeah, the Sentinels.
Shane Falco.
Falco, footsteps, with Keanu Reeves.
Honestly, though, it's like it's one of these things, oh man, trying to come up with a new name. When we were trying to come up with a name for our shows or the company, it was just like, man, what do we even call this?
Name this?
Picking a name it's
a difficult process.
It's the most difficult part of the process, but it's also the most important part of the process. Yeah. If you don't get the name right, you don't get the fans.
No.
That's the name. Right. But back to the behind the scenes parts of it, apparently there's a couple of people that already own all of the trademarks to these names. I believe all of them are owned besides the Warriors.
So they might have to take the crappy name.
Either that, or the people are suspecting this is why maybe it's taking so long, is they're negotiating with this average Joe who bought the trademark for the Washington, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
Because there was 25 or so that I've seen that were just already taken by one guy.
Maybe that's what they should just call themselves, the Average Joes. The dodgeball movie.
Yeah, I'm saying
the Washington Average Joes, led by quarterback. I can't even remember.
Haskins.
Yeah, led by quarterback Dwayne Haskins.
From the Ohio State University. How funny would it be if they did go Washington Sentinels? Quarterback Shane Falco from Ohio State. Quarterback Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State.
Maybe they'll get Gene Hackman in here too. They get a former SWAT leader to be their linebacker.
That would be really interesting.
That would be interesting.
Well, let's go a little in depth onto names, like Red Tails. Last to honor the
Which is also
Airmen.
A movie.
That's a really good movie.
That is a really good movie.
So Red Tails, Tuskegee Airmen, very famous group during World War II. What's that face for? Really, really famous group during World War II. There's even a moment in the movie that people have suggested maybe they use as their catchphrase or whatever, because they're trying to come up with one, and it was, I believe it went to the last second to the last bullet, we fight.
Yeah.
And people really like that one if they were to use it as a chant or whatever, fourth quarter or whatever, something like that. Then we go to the Red Wolves. Naming it the Red Wolves would obviously help the species, as it's been on the endangered list for a while. And
it would also fit in with the rival with the Cowboys, because back in the day, those Cowboys fought those Red Wolves too, out in the desert.
Right.
Like they did fight the Indians, but that made it really racist,
Right. Now that we're looking at the whole thing in the bigger picture, having a Cowboys versus Indians rivalry doesn't necessarily seem like the best idea.
The Cowboys are getting some heat for their name too.
Cowboys is another team that we could see eventually have to change their name.
And how about the Chiefs?
The
the
Chiefs,
defending Super Bowl
there's
champion.
potential for that. I believe the Atlanta Braves just came out and
Yeah.
said, "No way in hell are we changing our
Yeah,
name."
we're gonna keep our.
Dan Snyder said the same thing back in 2017 or 2018 when this last came up. Look where we are now. We have a new name coming through the pipeline.
And now our team, our Cleveland Indians, are getting some hate too.
But most people in the organization for Cleveland has said, we're looking into it. We're trying to find someone we like. I think the Indians are in a really good spot because they don't have a lot of heat on them right now.
No.
And they could kind of ride this off another 2-3 years since no one's putting the pressure on them right now, that they can actually brainstorm some good ideas that relates to the city instead of going to the Cleveland Spiders, which they used to be known as.
Or the Guardians.
The Guardians. I hate the Guardians
Me
name.
too.
That's stupid.
That is stupid. I do. But I think I saw another one. The Cleveland Great Lakers. Like, can you really?
Right.
Can you think of something better than that?
These are all fan names at the moment, so nothing that are actually happening.
The one we saw, what we liked, the one that said about the Commodores, about Commodore Perry, but that could also be.
Well, the thing about Commodore Perry is he was one of the few people back during the War of 1812. Many people know he fought the British on Lake Erie. There's monuments all over. He was actually employing and paying African Americans to work on a ship. Not many people at the time were doing that.
No.
So he was paying them as employees, not slaves.
Yeah.
Well, I say that. That is what we have documented.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't. That's the current documented status of it.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the Commodores. And even then, you don't have to relate it to Commodore Perry. You could just do it for shipping in general, because Cleveland is a huge docking zone for the Great Lakes for ships. Ships obviously can then go captains, Commodores, all of those. There's many marinas on the Great Lakes. A lot of them have yacht clubs. They have Commodores in those.
Yep.
It really relates to the lake. That's why I kind of like that one. It's not the favorite that I've heard so far. But I think, like I said, the Indians are in a good position because they can ride this out for a while, get together a group of people, start putting names in the papers, see the public reaction to it, and find a name that the majority of people like, and it relates well to the city.
Yes. And I think another one I saw with the Cleveland Rockers, that could actually fit in with the city. I mean, also,
I think the only issue is because there's the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
So there'd be the overlap there. On
the Rockers versus the Rockies.
The real issue is when you're trying to come up with a new name, trademarks and licensing for logos and stuff like that. When we're talking about Washington maybe going to the Warriors, well, now they're going to run into a bunch of other issues when it comes to the Warrior name because the Golden State Warriors already have it. Yeah. And then, not to mention the countless amount of high schools that have others, Warrior trademarks or whatever, around the country. There's thousands of them, if I had to guess.
Back in I believe it was back in sometime in the 1980s, there was a St. Louis Cardinals football and baseball team. Yeah. And how do you think that worked out? They ended up changing it. It's the Cardinals. They moved.
And now the team's not in St. Louis.
They just moved to Arizona. I mean, they're still the Cardinals.
Right. St. Louis, they got another team for this.
But back to what you were saying about the Indians saving a couple of years off their, before they have to go through this again.
Right.
Maybe they take the Chief out of all of their, out of everything. Like no more online of Chief Wahoo. Like you can still buy merchandise. But you still have your ways.
The logo, but you can still buy merchandise at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of that. We were in Dick's Sporting Goods today and we saw that stuff.
Right, the Chief is everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you still have your street vendors, but disconnect it from the main brands. Your street vendors are still gonna do it.
They're still gonna find a way to get their hands on it.
Yeah,
but they have to go through whoever their title sponsors for clothing at the moment. It's either Nike or Majestic. Yeah, if I had to guess. So we have to go through them, stop all production of the Chief, and if they have leftovers, do what they do with all the Super Bowl shirts and send them over to Africa where no one's ever going to see or hear from them ever again. Yeah. Or what was the country that got destroyed by the last hurricane? It may have been Puerto Rico, I think.
No, I think
is that right?
It was the Bahamas.
Yeah, the whole Bahamas. Yeah. Send them down there to places that need them. I mean, if you have the stuff and you don't want to sell it anymore, because Nike has already put out that they don't want to work with racial companies. No. like the Redskins, because they pulled all of the merchandise off the website.
They did too. I checked
immediately.
So did Amazon.
Amazon pulled down all of the stuff. FedEx threatened to pull title sponsorship from the stadium. Yeah. We're talking billions of dollars potentially losing here.
Yeah. So they're gonna change their name. You know that based off what you just said, because I mean you're gonna lose so much stuff.
And it's not the point of these owners are changing their minds and becoming unracist or unprejudiced or anything. They don't care. They're using the logo because it makes them billions of dollars.
Yeah.
If suddenly that billions of dollars is threatened, they're changing it so that they make money. Mm-hmm. To a lot of owners, this has nothing to do with the public's perception. It has to do with their wallet.
Yeah.
That comes down to a big part of it, which is why a lot of it hasn't been changed. Because if you change a name, especially with how much the country's split, divided on this subject, if you change the name, you risk losing a lot of fans, which is why the owners are hesitant to do so until a big company like Amazon, Nike, and FedEx, Pepsi all decide to pull out. You know you're not going to be able to replace those guys. Not when we're 3 weeks to the start of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, season's right around the corner. Now we're talking about no sponsors for the stadiums. There's no drink vendors. There's no merchandise. No fans.
Yeah. Speaking on more of the Redskins, with their name, changing their name to already a weird NFL season amongst the COVID. You got Cam in New England and Brady in Tampa Bay.
Right.
It's all weird. It's gonna be weird. So why not change the name?
But this name change really kind of makes you wonder, where do we go next after we get rid of the obvious ones like the Indians, the Braves, the Chiefs, the Redskins? Where do we go next? Do we go to the Cowboys? Do we go to, say, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish?
Do we go to the Rangers?
Right. The Rangers could be taken in a bad way. It's kind of, where's the next step? Do they go to like the Pittsburgh Pirates, Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Or how about the Chicago Blackhawks, too?
Well, actually, the Chicago Blackhawks, the reason that they aren't having as many issues is because their logo is actually of a chief.
Yeah.
I believe it was Chief Blackhawk. So that's why they haven't come under as much fire. Some people have still said that their logo may be a bit racist, and there is another logo that's been kind of circulated around, designed by Native American artists, that if they wanted to continue, if they come under fire and want to continue using the name and logo, that they could probably change it to that one and buy them some time, if not be okay.
Yeah.
For those of you wondering, Florida State Seminoles, they're fine because they have an agreement with the local tribes to use the tomahawk chant and the name.
Yeah.
All of their stuff has been cleared by the local Seminole tribes there. Last I heard, that everything is still fine down there for them. But now if we go to like other teams or whatever, do we just stop naming them after groups of people? Maybe is the better, let's just pick an animal.
Sooner or later, all the teams are going to be it's going to be a matchup between the yellow Sox and the gray Sox.
Well, then we have the Blue Sox projected for the Indians. That's a favorite up there, the Blue Sox.
That'd be horrible.
But a lot of people have speculated maybe we eventually see what we see in other places around the world, such as United Kingdom, Brazil, a lot of soccer teams. It's just the city name FC.
Yeah.
So it would be the Cleveland FC is the new name for the Cleveland Browns, or Washington FC. Then if you go baseball, you do Cleveland BC, I guess.
I guess.
I mean, they'd be probably more creative about it, but we could see something along those lines eventually, probably a while down the line. If you think about it and think about sports, those other countries are a lot older than the United States. We're still trying to find our place. Obviously, we're the sports capital of the world, basically.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to entertainment value.
We are
size of our sporting events.
Yeah. I don't think, they are, in the end, they are just names. They don't mean any racial slur against anything. They don't mean that at all. It's just a team, and it's just their name, It's not like... And
if we're just thinking of it as a name, what does it really matter if it gets changed? At the end of the day, you're supporting the players on the field.
Yeah.
You're supporting the players on the field and not a logo.
Yeah, exactly.
You're repping the logo for those players because those players are playing for that logo.
Yeah.
So, just bring it Cleveland. Someone's a Browns fan or a Steelers fan, you're still rooting for the players. If the Pittsburgh Steelers were under any other name, you'd still be rooting for them.
Yeah.
As long as it's in your city.
Yeah.
And they don't steal your team from Cleveland and move them to Baltimore, then you're not losing fans. Yeah. So as long as they don't move the Redskins.
Then they did lose fans there. I'd be a Browns fan. Because my dad was a Browns fan. They left.
Right.
Pittsburgh.
We're getting a little off topic here.
Yeah. But it's casual. We can go off topic.
Keeping it casual is the name.
Yeah,
as the name suggests.
That's the name.
No, it's like as long as the team is still in the city, we're gonna look down the line in probably 10 years, and people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, it's just when they changed the name."
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a whole situation where people are, still upset about it. I mean, if that was the case, we'd still see people, fighting for the Cleveland Spiders, which was a team in like 1903.
Yeah.
No. After you get to a certain point, nobody cares.
No.
It's just a moment in history.
I just hope we don't have to be called the Spiders, though. The Spiders? Really?
Yeah, I know.
You can step on them. I want something strong. I'd rather have an Indian, a strong, Indian over a spider. You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah, I'm not too big a fan of spiders, but we haven't seen any actual names from the Indians.
Where does that even come from? Is there a big population of spiders underneath Cleveland or something?
Probably.
I don't know. Probably. But,
some people have suggested having the Cleveland Buckeyes.
Yeah, but then you run into that problem because of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Exactly.
So just call them the team from Cleveland. I don't know.
The team that made it that one time, then blew a 3-1 lead.
You had to bring that up.
I'm a fan too. I was devastated watching that series.
This whole round, I was so happy at first.
I know, we're up 3-1, and then different topic for a different day.
I was at my homecoming, and I had a group of people, a whole group of people standing behind me because I was watching it on my phone. My principal was there watching it with me. It was so funny.
Back to the Redskins.
Yeah, back to the
What is your favorite proposed name?
I like the Red Wolves. The Red Wolves? That's cool.
It's a good one. I mean, because then if you go to Stadium Sounds, you can do the Howl.
That'd be cool.
But especially with the Red Wolves, the wolves have been on the endangered species list for a while, so a lot of people thought maybe this would be a good idea. Because you've seen it with a lot of other logos. Once people start seeing an animal, they recognizing it, the animal kind of gets a lot more love, support, so numbers will probably go back up.
That's true. That's why you have the Bears and the Seahawks and the Cardinals. All I'm sure there's more. I just can't think of them at the top of my head. The Bengals, they're all animal
weird
names.
About the Cardinals.
What?
The state bird of Ohio is a cardinal.
Yeah. Well, they were in St. Louis.
Right. How do we go just all the way down? Cardinals, state bird of Ohio, all the way down through there. They're naming after Cardinals.
Yeah. The Arizona Cardinals. I don't even think there's Cardinals in Arizona.
I mean, I'm sure there is, but
there might be. There's more snakes out. Like you have the Arizona Diamondbacks. That goes better.
Cool name.
Yeah, that is cool. I like that name. But
so at the end of the day, though, I don't think it really matters the name of the team, right?
No. Like you remember that post you sent to me the other day about the food? It'd be like the Cleveland the wings. And the Buffalo Wings.
Oh,
and then the New York Slice with the pizza.
Oh, yes, they named the teams just after different foods.
Yeah. What else was on there? There was 2 more. I can't remember.
Oh, man.
But that was funny, though.
Right. No, it's like, at the end of the day, it's just a name. People are going to get over it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be some backlash at first. No matter what name they pick, there's always going to be some group that doesn't like it, some group that loves it, all the people in between. And people are still going to buy the stuff.
Yeah. If you think that this is a hard process, oh man, why can't we just keep our name? How about like the AFL and the XFL? Like
they had tons of names.
They had tons of names. They came up with names.
Right.
They came up with a
and
music
people grabbed onto those instantly. People
what was
that?
The DC Defenders,
right. That one had a pretty big immediate following.
Yeah.
I thought at least. But
then
I think
why can't you do something like
the
that?
The NFL had the Birmingham Iron.
Something like that.
So if
the Memphis Express, I think was a team.
So actual cool ones, because now we just saw this morning, North Carolina people have been telling them that they need to change their name. Their name is the Tar Heels. Yeah. I'm not sure where the overlap is, but if people are complaining about it, I'm sure there's something. I haven't looked that far into it because we've been really busy today. But Tar Heels apparently has some sort of connection to the Confederacy and white supremacy in the South. So there's been calls for them to change that nickname. So a lot of the Southern teams that maybe had an underlying racial slur in there at some point that maybe comes under fire in a while. There's names to pick from.
Just imagine if there was a team with the nickname Renegade or Confederates. Man, they'd come under fire really bad.
They would have been gone years ago.
They would have been gone years ago. I remember Washington has also been familiar with changing names. They were the Washington Bullets in basketball, and then they had to change their name.
Right.
Because
Washington's no stranger to this.
Because Washington was the murder capital of the world back then. You got a basketball team named the Bullets? You got to change that, man. Not what they're the Wizards.
But anyone
Chicago Slayers.
If anyone's kind of holding on to these ideas and kind of suppressing change, or they still really like the Confederate flag. Which one? Confederate flag. You lost the war.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Heritage, it was 4 years. Come on.
Really.
That's like saying, I went to Youngstown State, so my heritage is college.
Yeah.
It's a part of your history. Many people forget most of that, though.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of on the, why do we really have to change it? Is it really going to make that much of a difference? What is it really doing? In the end, it's not doing anything to change racial prejudices against any groups of people. But I think the way a lot of people see it, it's that, how do I put this? It doesn't look good for a company. I think that's the biggest part of it. It doesn't look good for a company if your brand and title and logo.
It just doesn't look good for business.
Right. It's a real big side of this is business. Because if you're going into business, you're obviously trying to pick something that works for PR, public relations. Yeah. And so say if you're starting up a company right now, you're not going to go out there and name them the Redskins.
No.
Probably not the best look for a new company.
No.
So you have to apply new standards to old ideas. Right? So, like we talked about, XFL had to come in with new names, new, fresh ideas. Yeah. And they came up with them. And most of them, I think, were pretty much supported by a lot of people. They liked them. And
depending on, I don't know if the XFL's coming back, the Redskins could now be called the Defenders. It could be the
potentially just get rid of the Washington part of it, change it to DC. Because I think I knew it used to confuse me a lot when I was younger. Like, wait, is Washington Redskins in DC or the state?
Yeah.
And now supposedly Washington DC wants to become a state, become the 51st state. Yeah. It would probably help clarify that, so that way.
So we're gonna have two states called Washington.
No, they'd be DC.
They'd be DC.
So we'd have Washington, and then we'd finally have just DC.
It's like some people have thought that New York City was a state.
Right, because it's New York.
Yeah, it's New York.
It's confusing sometimes. But back to the topic. So change it to, you can honestly go with the DC Defenders, DC Red Tails, DC anything, especially with the whole talks of them potentially becoming a state in the near future, if they plan ahead at this point. Because if you're trying to become a brand, say you're going back to starting a business, you're looking into the future, what is this going to look like 20 years from now? And what can I do to stay modern and so I don't have to rebrand and change everything then? If we're already looking at it now where DC wants to become a state, we can change it right now. Since we're already in the process of a name change, of bringing it into something that would make sense for 20 years down the line when maybe it is a state, maybe it isn't. You can still keep it DC, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that just about wraps it up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a touchy topic.
Yeah, it is. I don't know.
But at the end of the day, it's just a name.
It's just a name. It's just a name.
We're going to look back at 10 years from now, and it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
5 years from now.
Yeah, I bet you within there are going to be a couple more name changes. And, who cares? It's just a name.
Right.
It's
Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Spiders. Oh, well, I'm still supporting the team.
I'm still going to support the team,
If you can't support your team after a name change, then you're really not a fan.
No. You're not.
Right?
Well, you just like them for the name?
Name and color scheme? Like,
yeah.
what?
What?
You're not a fan.
No.
If you can't support your team through the ups and downs, having a sports team as your favorite is kind of like a marriage.
Yeah.
You're there through the ups and the downs. You have to stick with them. Not every season's going to be a honeymoon.
No.
You're going to have a lot of those down years.
Especially for you, buddy.
Especially
Browns.
The Cleveland Browns. There's been a rough period. I admit.
I wouldn't say.
I waned off a little bit, but I'm back.
I wouldn't even say period. Period is a short period. It's a short period of time. I'd say, I don't know.
The honeymoon period never happened. We're still waiting for it.
Yeah.
We never took that trip to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. We're doing the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's like the decade type thing. It's not a period.
It's been a rough century.
It's like 20 years, man.
Yeah.
25 years. Something like that.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Well, this was Keeping It Casual. As always, I'm Alek Koberna.
And I'm Matt Morrison.
Check out the Casual Sports Podcast and all of our other things on Casual Sports Report on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you next time. Stay happy, stay healthy.
And keep it casual.